Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of A Gardener's Journey Homestead. I am Barbara. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I'm in the tunnel. And y'all, if you saw the little prelude, you're probably thinking, did I click on an old video? No ma'am, no sir, you did not. Yes, in this video we are starting seeds. Yes, it is the end of June, so I cannot wait to tell you what I have going on, why I'm starting seeds, and also, especially if you're in my zone, that you can be starting some seeds too if you wanted to. So if you're brand new here, we live in Tennessee, like I said, in zone 7B. So we have a pretty long growing season. Our growing season is 181 days. So some of the people, if you're in different zones, you may have a longer growing season than me, or you may have a shorter. So this may or may not apply to you, especially if you have a shorter growing season than me. But if you're in zone 7 and you have a growing season like I do, or even more, then you certainly can still be starting seeds in June. Let's talk about it. So let me show you what I'm going to be starting today. But first, let me explain why I can still start seeds in June. So if you're a brand new gardener, I get this question a lot. Can I start seeds now? Is it too late for X? Is it too late for that? So here is the quick, simple way to figure out if you can start seeds, right? So first off, you need to know your first and last frost date. If you don't know that, all you have to do is Google and put in first frost date, put in your zip code or your city and state. So if you live in New York, you would say, hey Google, what is the first frost date in New York? Or just type it in and it's going to tell you. Or you can go to the Farmer's Almanac. You're going to do the exact same thing for your last frost date. So those are bookends. Your first frost date and your last frost date. So for me, my last frost date is around April 19th, 20th, somewhere along in there. And then my first frost date is October the 19th. So if I go from, let's just say, April 19th to October the 19th, that is 181 days. Hopefully you are tracking so far. So you can plug in whatever your first and last frost date is. So go from your last frost date, because that's going to be, somewhere in April, May, somewhere, March, somewhere along in there, to your first frost date. So basically, that is an estimate, is all it is, of the average last frost date in your geographical area, city, town. It is not exact. Can you still have frost before or after that date? You can. So it is an estimated, right? So my estimated last frost is around April 19th, somewhere along in there. That is just saying that after April 19th, they don't expect us to have any more frost in my area. And then my first frost date is estimated October the 19th, meaning we could have frost as early as that date. So when you take those two dates and you add up the number of days in between the two, or get Google to do it for you, 181 days. So now I know I have a 181 day long growing season. So now when it comes to, do I have enough time? Can I plant X, Y, and Z? You want to look at what you're trying to plant and look at the maturity date, right? So the maturity date says that once I put this seed in the ground, in X amount of days, it should be able to produce fruit and I have a harvest. So for example, green beans are around 55 to 60 days maturity. That means from the time I put the seed in the ground, 60 days later, I'm picking green beans. Again, all of that is average estimate depending on your soil, your conditions, yada, yada, yay. So let's take the green bean. Right now, at the time of this video, this is the last, almost the last week of June, going into the last week of June. And so I wanted to know how many days left do I have in the growing season. So all I did was, hey, Google, how many days until October the 19th? And it gave me a number. I don't even remember what the number was. It's like 120 or something like that. Matter of fact, let me just do it right now. Okay, I just paused my video, and for me, it's not Google, it's Siri, because I'm an Apple lover. If you're an Apple hater, keep it to yourself. Because y'all know y'all Android people, y'all a different breed. But that's another video for a different day. So I said, hey Siri, how many days until October the 19th? She told me 123. So all you gotta do is do the same thing. Once you know your last frost date, Ask Siri, ask, I don't know who the Android person is.
Google.
I said, do y'all have a person? He like, so, okay, time out. Commercial break. Everybody in my house, except this one right here, is on Apple. He is the only one in the household that is on Android. Right. Which means when his daughter from college is trying to FaceTime, she can't FaceTime him. He got to go hop up in our picture and our video just to see her. Come on now. What kind of sense that make? Okay. Time.
Commercial break is over.
Commercial break is over. I know it is. Back to gardening. Okay. So Siri said I had 123 days. So y'all, it's simple math. If green beans take, let's just say 60 days to maturity, and I have 123 days left, does that mean I can start green beans? Yes, I can. It's just that simple. Now, again, your math is going to be different depending on where you are, but that's how you do it. Get your last frost date, your first frost date, calculate the number of days in between. Then whatever you want to plant, look at the maturity date, subtract that and see if you have enough time. Now, this is what I will tell you. For me, I always err on the side of at least 2 weeks. So that'll be 14 days. What I mean by that is, let's say I was 75 days left in my growing season instead of 123. And green beans that I want to plant are a 55 to 60 day maturity. So technically 60 is less than 75. I got 2 weeks to spare. I would probably go ahead and plant those, right? But let's say I want to plant a tomato that is a 70-day maturity, right? I can still plant it, but I need to be aware that that tomato may or may not turn red. Because as you get to the back end of your growing season, like let's say October for me, the sun is starting to go down earlier. It's not nearly as high as it is in July. So things are going to take longer to mature because it's not in the ideal optimum conditions of high heat, high sun, and 8 hours of daylight. Hopefully that makes sense. So I always err on the side of a couple of weeks when I'm trying to plant or direct sow later on in the season, just to be on the safe side, or knowing, hey, if you're okay with green tomatoes, go ahead and plant it. And again, sometimes you take a risk because the frost may not happen to November the 1st. So you may still be to the good, right? So it's all about knowing if you're going to take a risk, but don't put some stuff in the ground and you ain't calculated and you're like, oh, I'm not going to have food. No, you're not going to have food, honey. You're not going to have food. Okay. So I'm to the good because I have 123 days. So I can pretty much plant whatever I want to plant within reason. So let's talk about what we're going to plant today and why we're planting it. I got my little bucket here. This is from a subscriber. Thank you so much. Y'all be sending me the cutest. So she sent me some seeds, but did she have to put in a cute bucket? She didn't have to, but she did. Thank you. Love it. And yellow is one of my favorite colors. Well, it's actually my brand color for my business. Okay. All right. I'm all over the place. Okay. So one of the things that I am going to start seeds are sunflowers. And I'm just doing another succession of sunflowers. I already started sunflowers. They are already blooming. I'll be able to show you that on the garden tour for this month. But I know that I'm going to pick some of them, bring them into the house. But I want sunflowers all season long. And the majority of sunflowers I grow are Pro Cut, which are a single stem. So once I cut it, it's done. It's not the multi-branching kind. There are two different kinds of sunflowers, either like a single stem or a branching kind. So because I know that I want sunflowers all season, I'm going to go ahead and start some more sunflower seeds. I'm going to do Pro Cut Orange, Excel. I'm going to do a Firecracker sunflower, and I'm going to do this Dwarf Sunflower Elves Blend by Botanical Interest. So those three are sunflowers. Then I'm going to do another succession of basil. Basil, again, so sunflowers are pretty easy to grow, and the maturity date on sunflowers, I would say, is usually around 60 days or so. I can't remember, but I got plenty of time for those. Basil is around 55 to 60 days. Let's see. I don't remember. It's somewhere along in there. So I got time for basil too, but I'm planting another succession of basil. Some of my basil is already going to seed because it's in the tunnel because it is hot. We turned the corner over here in 7B. It was like in the 80s, and now it's in the 90s. And of course, in the tunnel, if it's 90 outside, it's 115 in here in the daytime. So a couple of my basils have already gone to seed. One, because it's hot, and then two, I just can't keep up with the picking and all of that stuff. So we're gonna have to get on the stick. But anyway, I'm gonna do some more basil, and I'm only gonna do lemon basil, and I'm gonna do an Italian Genovese, not all the 10 flavors I did before. So I'm doing more of that. I'm also going to do another succession of squash and zucchini. And so again, these are successions that I'm doing. Now let's just say I hadn't done them already. I could be starting them now, but for me, I've already done these. I'm just doing another succession, and I will probably do this succession of squash and zucchini and then probably one more, because squash and zucchini is like a 50 to 60 day maturity. It goes really fast. I got 123. I could possibly do 2 more for sure, especially if I have the spacing worked out. So we're gonna do some more squash, some more zucchini. Let me take a commercial break right here and just say, when I say gardening is a journey, it is a journey, because my squash and zucchini last year was pitiful. I did not bring any squash in the house, I don't think. I had some zucchini, but it was very little. I might have gotten, I'm gonna say 20 zucchini the whole season, and I really think that's high. But this squash and zucchini out here in this summer, in this garden, going crazy. I have picked easily, it just started producing last week, easily 50 of each one, easily. It's like it is like, and the plants look great, but I'm not fooled, I'm not tricked. The squash bugs, they will come, and I'm gonna be ready for them, because I'm gonna have some more plants to go in the ground. I'm a little behind what I wanted to be, but I've been out of town, because ideally I would have already started the squash and zucchini, but this out here, it is pumping it out. It is doing fantastic. So another succession of that, and then we're going to do more cucumbers. These cucumbers are going to go in the back of the house. I will do another succession for the ones in the tunnel, but these are going to go in the back of the house. I'm doing a defined pickling variety, just for pickles, and then I'm going to do a straight 8. Okay, so I'm doing that. Then I am going to start more corn. And I'll probably do a whole separate video about the corn situation. I'll do that on another video, because I need to talk to y'all about this corn, what it's doing, and what I found out. A subscriber, love y'all. A subscriber kind of hooked me on to the idea, and then I started Googling and researching, and I was like, you don't say. What? Didn't know. So I'll probably talk about that in another video, because I want to talk about that. I got some things to get off my chest about the corn. But we're going to do some more corn, and I'm going to tell you why we're going to do more corn. But when I was picking my corn to do, I went through all of my corn packets. I had some that was like 110 day maturity. You know what your girl picked? I picked my corn that had the shortest maturity. I've never done a second succession of corn before, because usually it takes long. But I found this variety in my stash that is a 63 day maturity. So we're going to do that. We're going to start some corn to put out here once we harvest this corn that's out here. Okay, so that's what all we're doing. You saw me, I got my tray ready. I'll probably have to do another tray, because I haven't figured out how many of each one I'm going to do, but let's just figure that out, get our labels done. Like, this feel like old times, y'all. I hadn't started seed since what, April? Y'all know we hung out together for like 12 weeks starting seeds. This, like, I don't know, this is a moment. It's a moment. Okay, let's. Okay, guys, you can see I got my tray back there all done. I got everything except the corn. I'm going to do the corn here, just because I need more of that. For the most part, I did like 4 of each of those ones that I told you about earlier. For the corn, I got to go out here and count and see how many I have. I think I have 12 in each row, and I have 2 rows, which means I'll need 24. But it's basically going to be the same process. I'll go ahead and make a tray of 32, and then I'll just put some extra, some of this stuff in there as well. But that's all wrapped up. So we just started some more seeds. in June for succession planting. I hope that this video helped you with the question of, can I start that? Is it too late? Now, obviously, if you buy a transplant, it's further ahead. And so this, what I talked about, was about starting seeds or direct sowing. But if you buy a transplant, then I would say you're already probably 2 weeks ahead of the game. So again, depending on what zone you're in, how much time you have left, a transplant may be the way to go. Now, for me, would I do tomatoes or peppers at this stage? I probably, I would do tomatoes because I did it last year, as a matter of fact. I would do tomato varieties that have a shorter maturity date. So I would probably pick some determinate tomatoes like Aroma, a Galahad, or something like that. And for peppers, again, something with a shorter maturity. So at this stage of the game, it's, if I have 5 different kinds of cucumbers and one is a 55 and one is an 80, I'm going to pick the one for 55 just to be on the safe side and just to make sure I have a good crop or something like that. But that is us starting seeds. The next thing I'm about to do after this, I'm about to sow some more green bean seeds in one of these beds right here that we did together. Just some that just didn't germinate just because of the, probably didn't get wet enough. So I'm just going to fill in the open spots on that. But that is what you can start in June. I hope that this video was helpful. Remember, gardening is a journey. Let's grow together. I'll see you next time, friend.